Hey everyone, welcome back to the American Justice Podcast Q&A edition for episode 22, The Trial, part 1 of 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're actually covering the trial now. We finally, after all of this time, we've gotten to the trial.
Yeah. And
State of
like you
Texas.
said in the episode, we had every intention of this being a two-parter. Well, get what? Get what? Nope. 4 parts, people.
I think somebody owes us an apology.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's just entirely too much information that needs to be put out. Everybody needs to know this information to understand what is going on. And it's a lot better than having two 2-hour episodes.
Right. And to your defense as well, there's a lot more background that goes into the trial than the actual text of the trial as well. So that's where we kind of got into a hiccup was, yes, here's what happened in trial, but here's why.
Right.
And so you didn't know all of that in the background. So by the time we added everything in there, it was like, okay, well, we thought it would be 2 episodes, but apparently it's not.
I knew when I was writing it, I was like, man, I know he's going to add so much to this, and there is no way this is going to be 2 episodes. There's no way. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that, you promised us 2 episodes. Well, you know what, man? Wait 3 weeks and then binge all 4 of them. That's right. That's my advice.
There you go. Come back in the beginning of October.
Yeah,
and just listen to 2 at once. And it'll be like 1 episode.
That's our advice. Oh my God. Scott, how's your week going, man?
Man, it's going really good. It just a lot of things are happening. Like we are getting some support from some people that we didn't realize were coming. I wish I could tell everybody, but we're getting a lot of support, and it's the word is finally getting out there.
Justin Bieber.
Baby. No. No. I
just remember the West Memphis 3.
Oh yeah.
Those guys were going through hell trying to get things, and then you had people like Natalie Maines, Eddie Vedder, and
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, Johnny Depp, Henry Rollins, people like that all stepped up and made sure that good things happened, and good things did happen.
Well, that was actually my motivation in doing this is I saw the documentaries that they did, that HBO did for that case, and Paradise Lost. And when I saw that, I was like, this is what Brandon needs. This is what he needs to get his voice out there. And the weird thing about that is what most people don't realize is they made those documentaries as they were happening, and they came out fairly soon afterwards. They only came out a year or 2 after the actual end of the trial, or at least the first 2 episodes of it. But after that, it didn't really cause that much of a change. It was more later on, 20 or 10 or 15, 20 years later, whenever it was, that people started picking it up, and then we started getting into the internet age and social media, and so they took these documentaries that were made, forever ago, and they started getting that voice, and they started getting the celebrities that started coming on board, and that's when I started picking it up as well. And I was like, man, this is what Brandon needs.
I was watching an old episode, probably from maybe 2009, 2010, of Californication. It was a Showtime show that had David Duchovny as a drunken, drug addict, sex-crazed writer living in Hollywood. The show takes on a totally different meaning now. But it was an episode where he was in court, and one of the first things he did was free the West Memphis 3.
Oh, really?
In the episode,
oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Wow, nice.
Oh, and free the West Memphis 3.
So even David Duchovny and I think he was executive producer of that show too, so he had some say-so in it. So
yeah, it became pretty apparent. I mean, obviously when you watch the documentary, it became pretty apparent that they didn't do it. But again, before, pre-internet days, you didn't really get the coverage that you needed.
Right.
Because it may be on HBO and you may have 100,000 people or whatever listen, or 1 million people or whatever it is that watch the show, but there was no way for them back then to really assemble and to get the word out to the masses, kind of like with Netflix now, that stupid, crazy guy, Tiger King, it's like you get one little series about that. And next thing you know, it's like on, 20 million people are talking about it.
I've yet to watch a single episode of that show.
I can't say that I can't say the same thing. I binge watched the whole thing at
Yeah,
once.
I don't know.
It's
I
crazy, man.
can't
It's
bring
crazy.
myself to do it.
It's crazy.
I don't know. It's like Honey Boo Boo. I don't think.
Well,
I remember watching an episode of that one time just because it was on, and it's just one of the most disgusting.
yeah, that's a whole different crazy though. Like,
Yeah,
this
it is a
guy
whole
is
different-
crazy. They're just like disgusting crazy.
I can't do reality TV. I can't. not since what is that? The Real World
Ah, yes.
Part
Puck.
2.
Puck. I like Puck.
Puck. I had a Mexican black king snake named Puck.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
After
Well,
that
it was actually The Real World, I think, when Pedro, you remember Pedro?
I remember Pedro Zamora, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. When he got HIV and he came out and kind of brought that whole thing into, like, that was the first show that really kind of took on that whole viral thing, and that's why it was so popular, is because it was at that point that the internet was starting to come around, and you were starting to get ways to communicate with other people, and like I said, assemble the masses, and it was just it was almost as much educational as it was entertaining.
Let's start out here. Mary from Greenville,
Greenville?
taxes.
Hey, Mary.
I was born and raised there.
Yeah.
Seriously, I was.
903.
Apologizing in advance.
903.
Oh, yeah. What you know about the 903?
Man, it's never mind. I was gonna tell a story, but I don't want to piss any people off in 903. So
All right. Mary from Greenville
I'll tell you
asks-
after the episode.
Okay. You keep saying court reporter volume 41 and 42, etc. What happened to all the other volumes of the trial?
Well, they threw them out. No, I'm just kidding. All right. I'm glad we're starting off with an easy question. So basically, volume 1 through 39 are just all of the pretrial motions. So anytime that there was a hearing before the judge, they obviously record all of that. And so each hearing had its own volume. So basically, there's 39 other pretrial hearings, and then 40 was when we started the voir dire, started the trial. So it's a lot of reading, man, because each one of those, hearings, I mean, they could be up to 300-400 pages.
Yeah, they're a lot. And I don't remember which one it is, but I remember finishing it and coming back to it the next day, and I noticed that about 3/4 of that document was from the document before, from the volume before.
Oh yeah, that's right. We'd start off with Charla, right?
I mean,
with her testimony.
You're counting double digits, and you can't even get that right.
Right. Well, that's the way it is in Greenville.
And the courts are the 354th and the 196th in Hunt County. Those are triple digits. Come on, man, you can do double.
Yeah, I don't know what that, but yeah, it took us a little while to figure that out. Like, wait a second, this is double, and then we realized they just put 2 volumes into 1 volume.
Yeah, we can't have nice things, man. We can't have nice things.
But anyways, thank you, Mary. That's actually a really good question. It's something I was kind of thinking about when I was like the first episode, and I was like, okay, Court Reporter Volume 40. I'm like, man, I bet people are wondering where the other volumes are.
I was one of them. I was scared that you screwed up and didn't send me everything, and I'm like, crap, I'm gonna have to go
I
back.
got more reading.
Oh, I'm like, no, something's wrong. All right, Mary from Greenville. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Tell all my old friends and family I said hello, but not really. All right.
Especially your
cousin.
You're going to have to listen to the episode to get that reference.
You and me go filming in the dark.
Ranger Collins does it with the lights off.
I went and spent 5 days in a loft in San Antonio this last week, and my wife and I are at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, and I'm in line for a roller coaster. socially distanced before anyone says anything.
They actually had like little markings, right?
Yes.
I think you were telling me they had like stand by your marking.
and they spray down the roller coaster cars like every 5 or 6 tries.
That's
like
awesome.
The guys got Ghostbusters backpacks on and they hose it down.
Nice.
They'll run it with no people in it to dry it off. Six Flags is taking every precaution imaginable, and it's actually, to me, I think, safer than the grocery store.
Right.
So if you have a choice between the two, go to Six Flags, guys.
Do they have apples?
Go have some fun.
Like, they have stuff, groceries there.
I'll tell you something else I
Get
did.
strudel and stuff.
Tell you something else I did. Right about sundown, I went and jumped into a saltwater pool, and it was the first time I've been in a swimming pool since before all this bullcrap
nice.
started, man.
Nice.
Roller coasters and swimming pools. Go have fun, guys.
That's right.
Go have safe fun.
Go have some socially distanced fun.
Yes, go have fun. Nobody says you have to stay inside your house barricaded in. You just got to stay away from other people.
Not anymore.
So go outside, shoot up in the air a couple of times. Everybody will move.
Just make sure you wear your mask.
Yes, wear your mask.
Even you people that don't think it works.
Yes. Even if it's 100 degrees outside and you're standing in lines for a roller coaster, wear your mask.
I'm talking to you, Danae. One of my coworkers, she's convinced that masks don't work.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a lot.
She's in the medical field.
There's a lot of ugly people out there, and it's saving the rest of us from having to look at them. I'm one. I'm one of them. So I'm doing everyone a favor by wearing a mask.
That's a big beard you have underneath your mask there, sir. Anyways, we have another question.
Okay, we have another question. I was about to make a point with something, but I completely damn, and it was important too.
Was it about Brandon?
Oh, anyway, I was waiting in line on the roller coaster, and a buddy of mine from Greenville texted me.
Oh, okay.
He was listening to the episode on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
And he said, he was texting me as he was listening. He says, "So, are you going to admit to everyone that Brandon Bobbitt is your cousin?"
Mm-hmm.
And then 5 minutes later, when you read the writer's note in the episode, he texted me back. He's like, "Never mind."
Never mind, you did. Apparently, Brandon Bobbitt does it with the lights off, too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He was told to do it with the lights off.
Maybe we should have one that says the Hunt County Sheriff's Department does it with the lights off. Okay, anyways.
I think there's more of a chance of a lawsuit with that than there is just Ranger Collins.
Ranger Collins.
I'm sure Ranger Collins isn't the only Collins that's ever worked for the Texas Rangers, so I think
he's probably the only Ranger Jeffrey T. Collins.
Probably. You didn't put his full name.
No,
on
we
the
did not.
stickers.
We just said Ranger
Collins.
We didn't even put his title that he always puts. Ranger Sergeant Collins.
Ranger Sergeant Jeffrey Collins.
And then he went on to be lieutenant, and then major, and then retired.
Crossing guard. Librarian.
There you go. All right. What's
Librarian Collins. Okay. Jackson from Sugarland, Texas asks.
Sugarland. The land of sugar.
Yes. You said that the prosecution promised they would prove beyond any doubt that Brandon killed his parents because of the cell and toll records. Did the prosecution ever deliver on that promise? You've got to wait 3 more episodes.
We got to see what the verdict is. I'm on pins and needles. Did they prove this guy guilty? No.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler. No, it's funny. I'm glad that somebody asked this question because I do find it ironic, and I just realized that we didn't really even talk about this in the episode, but I do find it ironic that the prosecution promised that the cell records and the toll records would be what proved Brandon's guilt. And here we are in a podcast basically using the cell records and the toll records to prove his innocence.
Right.
It's like so all these cell records are missing and, we have to reconstruct them through other things. And through reconstructing them through the other people's cell records, we find out that he only had 14 minutes where he was, quote, unaccounted for. And then we use the toll records to prove where he was at 11:23 at night. So I think it's ironic, but obviously the answer to that question, Jackson, is no, they did not prove Brandon's guilt, especially because of the toll records, or in the cell records and the toll records. But, like I said, it's just ironic that they made that promise, and then it was those things that are really giving us irrefutable forensic proof to show where Brandon was, what he was doing. Like I said in whatever episode it was, it's like I could tell you all day long that I was at work last night, but if I'm driving around and my cell phone is in Louisiana,
Right.
and my toll records, and you got a picture of me on the tollway, going through the tollway, going to Louisiana, like, I don't care what you say, Scott, you were here, and it is proven that you were here. So just because Brandon was an hour or two off on his time, saying that he went to Denny's at whatever time, the phone records say that he was at that cell tower in Mesquite. So we know where he was. Too bad they don't have all the records, and then we would know
Right.
exactly where he was previously. But
They got to pick and choose.
that seems like what happened.
I like this one. No, not so much. This
No,
one.
no, yeah, take that one out. That one proves he's innocent. Take it out.
Put that in your back pocket. Bring it out later.
Exactly. But and I will say this, ultimately, and this is my belief, and we'll talk more about this in the last episode, but I completely believe that it will be the cell records that eventually set Brandon free.
One could hope.
And it'll be ironic.
Don't you
Especially since what the prosecution said.
All right, Jackson from Sugarland, thank you for your question.
Thank
Keep
you.
listening, man.
Yeah.
Or woman. I don't know if you're just someone using their last name.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Could be Debbie Jackson.
Could be. Speaking of Debbie, why don't we take a little break, and then we'll come back with Debbie from Plano's question.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
All right.
Central Vapors is the premier online vape store that you've been looking for. If you are currently buying e-juice for e-cigs, you are more than likely spending way too much. You can save money by buying in bulk. No, we're not talking Sam's Club buy it by the gallon bulk. We're talking flavored e-juice in 120, 250, or 500 milliliter bottles. Think about it this way. 8 bottles of 30 milliliter e-juice would cost you anywhere from $100 to over $250. But at Central Vapors, a 250 milliliter bottle is only $28.95. And if you use the code AJARMY, you'll save 50% off your first 3 orders of bulk e-juice. Central Vapors is one of the largest independent retailers of e-cig supplies in the country. They provide all your vaping needs from e-juice to DIY supplies to pens and custom e-cigs. They even have CBD oil as well. With $2.99 shipping on all orders under $50 and free shipping over $50, you will not be disappointed. Customer satisfaction is always guaranteed. Head on over to centralvapors.com/AJARMY to claim your 50% discount on your first 3 orders of bulk e-juice today. You won't find a deal like that anywhere. Again, that's centralvapors.com/AJARMY.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the American Justice Podcast Q&A edition for episode 22, The Trial, Part 1.
Part 1.
The Phantom Menace. I can do that
Oh
again.
yeah, we get to start over again. Trial Part 1. Oh, and we're going to end on A New Hope.
We are. We could use one of those.
Nice. I like it.
Okay. So, yes, Q&A edition for episode 1 of The Trial. Our next question comes from Debbie from Plano, so cue the music.
Hello, Debbie. Here we go.
Debbie from Plano, she writes in every week. She believes in Brandon's innocence, it's justice that she seeks. We'd love to hear her thoughts, her wrath we won't incur. We need more listeners just like her.
I love it. We gotta have a bunch more regular listeners so we can that have questions so we can make them jingles too.
That would be nice.
I mean, Ranger Collins has his bumper sticker and
Yes.
T-shirt.
Debbie has
her jingle. I have my patent pending Scott Poggensee personal opinion. Like we need more things to produce.
I ain't got shit.
We need to do one for the writer's note. And now, a writer's note from C. Derick Miller.
I wouldn't even know how those would begin.
I'll see if I can get someone to do it. All right.
Debbie from Plano asks, other than a change of venue, could the defense have taken any additional steps to prevent a biased panel?
Yes.
In 2009.
Yes, kill everyone in Greenville.
Yeah, drop the bomb.
Drop the bomb. I mean, that's, it's hard to say because it really is, you have, if every single person in your county has this, kind of bias towards your defendant, then what are you going to do? Your only choice is to go somewhere else. But then if you go somewhere else, like Catherine said, you may end up in a worse place. You don't know. So there's, and the court system is set up in a way that the defense and the prosecution, they only have a certain number of preemptory challenges where they can actually say, we excuse this juror for no reason. Doesn't matter. You can excuse a juror all day, like as many jurors as you want for just cause, because somebody, let's say I'm on trial and Chad is a potential juror, they can excuse him because of that conflict of interest, but they don't have to use their preemptory challenge. But they only get, I think, usually it's like 10 or 12 or something like that, preemptory challenges where they just say, you know what, we don't like this guy, so we're going to excuse him.
And how many people were originally called? Was it 97?
97, yeah.
97.
So out of 97, you pretty much have to end up with 12. Because if you excuse 12 and the prosecution excuses 12 or whatever that number is, you're out of that. So then if you try to excuse a juror, it has to be for just cause. And like I said in the episode, you can't just say, well, this guy's a bigot, so, we want him excused. And if you were to sit there and say, well, we want to excuse him on just cause because he is a Christian or he feels like gay people are inferior or whatever, any of those type reasons, the judge more than likely is going to say that's not a valid reason. And then you have the choice of, taking that issue upon appeal if you get convicted. But that's really about the only thing that they could do. You could sit there and try to, if that were a valid reason, if the judge said, yeah, we can excuse this person for just cause because they have this view of homosexuality, then you literally would never have gotten any of those 97. You would have had to bring in a whole new 97, probably would have excused all of that. This would just go on forever and ever until you got through every citizen in Hunt County. So, they pretty much just had to try to do the best that they could and try to find some that were at least gave lip service to, yeah, I can be fair. Even if human nature is such that you really can't put aside those biases, if they give lip service, because obviously there were some that were like, nope, I couldn't, I just couldn't excuse a gay kid, so they obviously got to excuse them. But the problem is, like I said, you can't go through every single citizen. But anyway, so to prevent a biased panel, that's pretty much the only option they had, just to try to find somebody that at least gave lip service to the fact, yeah, I can be fair.
Yeah, total roll of the dice. They could have ended up in Rains County, which is even smaller than Hunt County and further east.
Right, exactly. And who knows what would have happened there, but
97 people would have been half the population.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay, we got these 14 people to choose from for 12 jurors. So which two do you want to take?
Between all 14 of them, they share one mouth.
One brain.
They got a full mouth of teeth between all 14 of them.
Oh, God. Oh, my Lanta.
Smile like a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah. Well, and they almost, and honestly, the defense almost got lucky because there was one lady, and we'll hear from her on the last episode of the trial, A New Hope episode, that was the quote unquote the lone holdout. And, she basically said, you guys haven't proven to me that he killed his parents. Like, you may have proven that he was gay. You may have proven that he was, quote unquote, a bad dude because he was lying to everybody about being gay. You may have proven all of that stuff, but you hadn't even really. And if you look through the trial, if you watch read the trial transcript, they don't talk about the crime scene and the murder hardly at all.
Yeah.
Like, this is the weirdest murder trial you'll ever hear. They don't ever talk, other than to say that they were found dead. You know, there was no real investigation done, so they really don't talk about the murder scene and the actual murders and any way that the defendant ties into these murders at all. It's all just like, well, like we said in the episode, oh, well, Brandon, did he ever drive that truck? And they're like, no, I was so surprised that he had his mom's truck.
The damn truck. Hi.
So, you know, but they almost got lucky because that one lady, she was like, you just haven't proven it to me. And one thing that I've learned about studying trials and studying juries is if you ever have 11-1, the chances of that one person that is going to stick to their beliefs and stick to what they believe in, when you're trying to stand up against 11 people that are basically ganging up on you, is almost, you know, zero pretty much. If it's like 7-5 or something, then it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, we may end up in a hung jury because these 5 can kind of band together. But when it's 11-1, you might as well just throw in the towel right then.
It's not like 12 Angry Men. That doesn't happen. Where you got
Right.
the one holdout, and then, you know, every 5 minutes into the film, they're converting one more person over to their side.
Right.
That kind of shit doesn't happen in real life. No, they bullied the hell out of this one lady.
Yep.
Made her feel about this big.
Yep.
And finally, she's like, you know what? Screw it. Yeah, he's guilty.
And the other jurors that I talked to even admitted to that. They were like, well, what do we have to say to get you to vote guilty? And, you know, and when somebody asks you a question like that, it's like, I don't know if you could prove this one. Okay, well, and then they go over and bully you into basically going along with them. And this trial, like, she even, when I contacted her, she told me that she felt like Brandon was innocent before I even talked to her. And this trial has really haunted her even to this day. And I've sent her, you know, the link to the podcast, and hopefully she'll get resolution one day when he's released. And
Or till we pimp slap the other 11.
that's right. We need to go find them and hunt them down.
Can't be that hard.
Tell them they were wrong.
Can't be that hard.
We'll find them.
We live in the age of information.
That's right.
All right, Debbie from Plano. Thank you. That's your special edition answer. It went on for a while. Last but not least, we have Francis from Tucson. I'm not allowed to tell you if I like that city or not.
Well, you told me before you did. No,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
allowed to tell us if you do like it. You're just not allowed to tell us if you
okay.
don't.
I do love Tucson. It's a great city. Great city.
Somebody might be mad at you.
Screw them. All right. You said the attorneys were picked from Hunt. You said the attorneys were picked from Hunt County, but was there anything else they could have done to fight for more resources? What other expert witnesses were they wanting to employ, but the judge wouldn't allow?
That's a really good question because as we talked about in the episode, the judge controls every dollar that you spend. And there were all kinds of other people that they could have hired. They could have hired somebody to talk about, like when I was. Wait, did I talk about this? I didn't talk about this episode with the guy from Florida yet, did I?
I don't think you did. You
Okay. Well, I'm getting everybody a little sneak peek into next week.
I don't think you talked about. I know I didn't write anything, and I don't.
Well, this is something that was done outside, but basically, it's when we talk about Eric identifying the sword in the trial.
Yes,
in the
I thought
trial.
you were going to talk about the bailiff buying pigs in a blanket instead of donuts.
No,
Because that's actually in the court
It is in the
transcript
court
several
transcript.
times.
Yeah, they were not happy.
They were proud of those pigs in a blanket, man.
That's right. But no, next week we're going to talk about when Eric actually identifies the sword at trial and says, yeah, that's the sword or the dagger that that Brandon owned, and there's a reason that he identified or misidentified it, and we go into that in pretty well detail because I actually contacted a guy, Dr. Fisher, that is the head of the psychology department at this university in Florida, where that's his specialty. Is he gets into he's an expert witness into misidentification, whether they're identifying objects or they're identifying people or identifying whatever. He's an expert in that field, and we actually talk about the fact that the prosecution violated the Department of Justice guidelines on preparing witnesses. And that's how they got him, kind of tricked him into identifying that sword. So we'll talk about that next week. Sorry about that. But that just goes to show that there are lots of other expert witnesses that they could have hired and had come in and analyze this case and do the investigation that Hunt County didn't do. They could have hired a crime scene reconstructionist like I was able to. They could have hired, more experts on the phone issue, because once they found out these phone records were missing, they could have, tried other means to try to get those records. Like if this was an OJ, dream team or whatever, there's hundreds and hundreds of other avenues that they could have gone down to try to help prove the fact that Brandon was not at that house. He was not there when his parents were killed. And, like I said, the judge kind of crippling that defense and saying, you can spend $1 here, but you can't spend 50 cents there, and you can't spend $1 over here. It's like it just gets to the point where you don't even try to ask, because the judge is going to say no.
If Norma Etherington's wig don't fit, you must have quit.
Don't think it was a wig.
Oh, okay.
Although some people call their own hair a wig. Yeah. Yes.
All right, guys, that is it for episode 22, Q&A, The Trial, Part 1.
Part 1.
Be sure to listen on Sunday for episode 23, The Pile. The Pile?
The Pile?
The Pile.
The
Trial.
The Pile 2?
The Pile, Part 2. Part 2 of The Trial.
Part 2.
The hell's The Pile?
Part 2.
Pile! Gomer Pyle, USMC.
Gomer Pyle, yeah, I remember.
That just went over everybody's head out there in YouTube land.
Which was a spinoff of
Andy Griffith.
The Andy Griffith
Mayberry
show.
RFD. Or they were all connected.
Dude, if we could have like a podcast that just talks about old TV shows, like old TV comedies in the 50s, 60s, 70s, dude, I would love that. I love TV back then.
There has to be quite a few of them already out there.
Well, not as interesting as us, though.
I can't argue with that.
Oh, man.
Where were we?
Anyways.
We're at The Pile.
Yes.
The Trial. Part 2.
Part 2.
We will...
Part 2, like I said, we're going to talk a lot about that sword, that misidentification. That's a real big part of this episode, because Eric comes to the stand, and, it's kind of funny how, if you think about it, somebody describes something as this big, and then it gets to trial, and it's this big. Like, it just doesn't make sense, So
men do that a lot. Men exaggerate, whether it's fishing or...
I'll have to find exactly where it's at, but Catherine actually says that in trial. Well, I think it's during Ranger Collins, and we'll have to bring it up in the episode. But she actually said, she says, like, she actually gives him a yardstick and says, measure out, what Eric said it was, and then measure out what it actually is, and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, it just doesn't, it's not the right size, or it's a lot bigger than it seemed or something. And she goes, is that just a man thing? I was just laughing. I was like,
it is a man thing.
Oh, Catherine.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, we do have the Ranger Collins Does It With a Lights Out bumper stickers.
That's right.
If you call, you leave a question at 972-942-0444.
That's right.
Yes, if you call that number and you ask a question and we use that question on the show, you will get a free bumper sticker.
Free bumper sticker.
To decorate your car so that everyone knows that Ranger Collins does it with the lights out.
And I'm not promising this, but let's just say I've been known to when somebody orders a t-shirt off of ajpodcastmerch.com. Sometimes I'll actually stick a free bumper sticker in there.
You never know.
Sometimes. You never know.
Wear a t-shirt. Get a t-shirt.
Get a t-shirt.
Get it like
AJ.
three sizes too big and like wear it to bed.
ajpodcastmerch.com.
All right, guys. We will see you all next week. In the meantime,
Don't forget to stay aware,
stay drunk.
stay strong,
Thank you.
and get involved.
I drew a blank this week.
Stay drunk.
Stay drunk. Don't stay drunk.
Don't stay drunk.
Okay.
At least get sober every other day.
Yes, every other day.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.